Walk Score rates the strongest pick at 99. This countdown covers 5 greater Seattle neighborhoods, inside Seattle and in nearby suburbs, where Zillow's May 2026 home value estimates sit below $650,000, and daily stops are walkable. The goal here is simple. Find places where a car-light routine is realistic without crossing that $650,000 mark. That does not mean every home type in every pocket fits the same way. At this tier, the numbers often reflect condo and apartment-style housing more than detached homes. And for the suburban entries, think walkable downtown cores, not the entire city from edge to edge. Number 5 is Renton, and this one matters because it proves the walkable under $650 conversation is not limited to Seattle proper. Renton comes in around $609,558 with a walk score of 95. The walkable draw is clustered around places like Liberty Park, the Cedar River, and Common Ground Coffee and Cupcakes. It is also one of the closest calls on price, sitting within about $40,000 of the ceiling. Renton's downtown core has a different feel from the dense Seattle neighborhoods higher in the countdown. Instead of high-rise blocks and waterfront tourism, the draw is a more civic, river-connected center with parks, coffee, local streets, and practical errands within walking range. The Cedar River gives the area a natural anchor, and Liberty Park adds open space right in the middle of that walking pattern. The key wording is core, because Renton as a full city stretches well beyond the most walkable pocket. If you are comparing this to a Seattle neighborhood, the trade-off is that you are getting a suburban city center rather than a continuous urban grid. But for this topic, Renton earns its place because the price stays under $650,000, while the walk score stays very high. Number 4 is Everett, another Seattle area suburb where the downtown core brings a surprisingly strong walkability profile. The typical home value here is about $558,951. And the walk score is 95. Narrative Coffee Company and the Port Gardner Bay view areas help define the on-foot experience. Everett also has the smallest year-over-year dip here at minus 0.5%, which makes its price signal feel different from the steeper drops in some Seattle entries. Everett's appeal is the combination of a lower typical value and a real downtown pattern. You can move between coffee, older commercial blocks, civic destinations, and waterfront view areas without treating every outing like a drive-first errand. Port Gardner Bay gives the setting a clear identity, especially compared with inland suburban centers that may have walkable streets but less of a scenic edge. As with Renton, the walkability score should be read through the downtown core lens. Everett, as a full city, includes areas where a car still plays a bigger role, so the match here is for someone focused on that central pocket. For a greater Seattle search, though, Everett keeps the car light option on the table well north of Seattle. Number 3 is Lower Queen Anne, also known to many people as the area around Seattle Center.
The typical value is about $518,517, and the walk score is 96.
Seattle Center, Climate Pledge Arena, and Counterbalance Park are the big anchors, with restaurants, coffee, events, and neighborhood services packed close together. The same Zillow snapshot shows a minus 5.8% year-over-year change here, which cuts different ways depending on whether you are buying or already own. Lower Queen Anne is one of the clearest examples of why walkability is about daily texture, not just a number. On any given route, you may pass performance venues, arena crowds, neighborhood cafes, apartment buildings, and small parks within just a few blocks. Seattle Center gives the area a cultural and public space anchor that few neighborhoods can match, while Counterbalance Park adds a smaller, more local pause point. The price point is well below the $650,000 ceiling, but the housing mix is a major part of that story. This is not a detached house-first market at that number. It is a dense, condo and apartment-heavy neighborhood where the walking network is the main value driver. That is exactly why it lands in the middle of the countdown. Very walkable, centrally located, and still below the cutoff. Number 2 is Pioneer Square, one of Seattle's most historic, most compact urban neighborhoods. The typical value is about $610,869, with a walk score of 97. Occidental Park, Waterfall Garden Park, and Smith Tower are all within a few blocks, giving the area a strong mix of public spaces and landmark architecture. It is also another close-to-the-ceiling entry, with a minus 4.3% year-over-year change. Pioneer Square has a walking experience that feels different from every other Seattle entry here. The streets are older, the buildings carry more visible history, and the public spaces feel woven into the neighborhood, rather than added on later. Occidental Park creates a central gathering point. Waterfall Garden Park offers a quieter pocket, and Smith Tower gives the skyline a classic anchor at street level. Elliott Bay is also within walking range, which adds waterfront access to the everyday map. The trade-off is price position. This is one of the highest typical values in the countdown, just under the $650,000 ceiling. But if the priority is being able to step outside and immediately connect to parks, landmarks, food, offices, stadium area energy, and the waterfront, Pioneer Square is hard to ignore. Before number 1, here is the big pattern across the countdown. All 5 neighborhoods score between 95 and 99 for walkability, which is an unusually tight band. The price range is also tighter than many people expect, from just over $500,000 to a bit over $610,000. But those numbers do not all mean the same type of housing, and they do not all describe the same kind of street life. Renton and Everett bring the suburban downtown version of the concept. Lower Queen Anne and Pioneer Square bring dense Seattle living with major landmarks close by. That leaves one neighborhood with the lowest typical value, the highest walk score, and immediate access to parks and Elliott Bay. Number 1 is Belltown. The typical value is about $502,672, the lowest of the 5, and the walk score is 99, the highest of the 5. Bell Street Park, Olympic Sculpture Park, and Elliott Bay's waterfront are all part of the walkable everyday map. The year-over-year change is minus 5.7%, which is another reminder that a lower entry number can carry both opportunity and caution. Belltown wins because it combines the most aggressive price position in this group with the strongest walking score. The neighborhood sits between downtown Seattle, the waterfront, and Lower Queen Anne, so short walks can feel very different depending on which direction you choose. Bell Street Park runs through the neighborhood as a linear public space, while Olympic Sculpture Park connects the urban grid to open views and the waterfront edge. Elliott Bay gives Belltown the kind of walking destination that is hard to replicate inland. Like the other dense Seattle picks, this price point is mostly about condos and apartment-style homes rather than detached houses. But for this specific mission, walk everywhere, stay under $650,000, and remain in the greater Seattle area, Belltown puts the strongest pieces together. The bigger takeaway is that walk everywhere changes meaning depending on where you are in the metro. In Belltown and Pioneer Square, it can mean stepping into the densest parts of Seattle, with parks, landmarks, food, and waterfront routes close together. In Lower Queen Anne, it can mean living around Seattle Center, with major events and daily errands sharing the same compact street network. In Everett and Renton, it can mean choosing the downtown core of a larger suburban city, where the walkable experience is real. None of these neighborhoods removes the need to check the exact block, building type, homeowners association details, or transit access for your own routine. But they do show that under $650,000, the greater Seattle area still has several places where walking is not just a bonus feature, it is the basic framework of the neighborhood. To recap, number 5, Renton. Number 4, Everett. Number 3, Lower Queen Anne. Number 2, Pioneer Square. And number 1, Belltown. The pattern is compact cores, everyday stops, and values below $650,000. Every number in this video is sourced. Links are in the description. Which neighborhood would have made your top 5? If this helped, tap like, subscribe, and tell me what Seattle area countdown you want next.